Nutrition is very important for any structure for its optimal functioning and normal metabolism, and this nutrition is provided by the arteries via the blood. So it is very important to understand and look into the anatomy in the perspective of the arterial supply of any region. And talking about the posterior compartment of the thigh, in this section we are going to talk about the blood supply or the arterial supply of the posterior compartment of the thigh, as well as the posterior gluteal region, in which we are going to talk about the superior and the inferior gluteal artery, the internal pudendal artery, the perforating artery, the medial femoral circumflex artery, and the lateral femoral circumflex artery. So here we can see in this picture we have the inferior gluteal artery, we have the medial and lateral femoral circumflex arteries, we have the perforating arteries, first, second, third, and fourth perforating artery here. We have the here we have actually the femoral artery, which gives off these branches, and then here we have the inferior gluteal artery as well as the internal pudendal artery, and here we have the superior gluteal artery. So these are actually all the arteries or the blood vessels that we're going to talk about in detail one by one. So let's start off with the superior gluteal artery that we just saw here. Here we have the superior gluteal artery. So superior gluteal artery, as we can see that here we have the superior gluteal artery here, and the origin is from the internal iliac, and the course is that it enters through the greater sciatic foramen. It is actually the greater sciatic notch which is converted into foramen because it's enclosed, and then that's where it actually passes from, just superior to the piriformis, and just inferior to the piriformis we have the sciatic nerve which is passing through this region, and then it divides into superficial and deep branches. So it anastomoses with the inferior gluteal and the medial circumflex femoral arteries as well. So the distribution includes the two branches. One is the superficial branch and one is the deep branch. The superficial branch supplies the superior glute aspect or the superior part of the gluteus maximus muscle, which is one of the major hip extensor muscles, and the deep branch passes between the gluteus medius and gluteus minimus muscles, and the deep branch supplies both the gluteus medius and the gluteus minimus muscle, and also supplies the tensor fascia lata muscle as well. Moving on, we have the inferior gluteal artery. So here we had the superior gluteal artery, and here we have the inferior gluteal artery. So inferior gluteal artery has the same origin, which is from the internal iliac, and talking about its course, it has the same side that it enters through the greater sciatic foramen, and it descends on the medial side of the sciatic nerve as the sciatic nerve passes beneath the piriformis and exits through the piriformis and then extends into the thigh. As you can see here, here we have the sciatic nerve, and along with the sciatic nerve we have the inferior gluteal artery which is passing along with it on the medial side of the sciatic nerve. And as already mentioned, it anastomoses with the superior gluteal artery as well and participates in the cruciate anastomosis of the thigh. Now, talking about the distribution of the inferior gluteal artery, it supplies the inferior part of the gluteus maximus, and the superior part of the gluteus maximus, as we already mentioned, was supplied by the superior gluteal artery, and it also supplies the obturator internus muscle. Other than that, if we talk about the muscles in the thigh, it also supplies the quadratus femoris muscle and the superior parts of the hamstring muscles. Now, another very important muscle, which is the internal pudendal artery, and it is also it also has its origin from the same internal iliac, and the course is via it enters through the sciatic foramen, just like the inferior gluteal artery, for example, and descends posterior to the ischial spine, and then it exits via the lesser sciatic foramen and enters the perineum because it supplies the different perineal structures there, and it participates in the cruciate anastomosis of thigh as well. So the distribution is not to the muscles, but it is, as already mentioned, to the perineal structures, which includes the external genitalia as well as the muscles in the perineal region, and it does not supply the muscles in the posterior aspect of the thigh. Then we have the perforating arteries, which are actually a branch, as we can see here. Here we have the perforating arteries, and these are actually a branch of the femoral artery, and the origin is from the profunda femoris artery, but may arise directly from the femoral artery as well. And the course is that it perforates the aponeurotic portion of the adductor magnus muscle and the medial intramuscular septum on the medial aspect of the thigh, and enters and supply different muscular branches. It all then pierces the lateral septum and enters the posterolateral aspect of the anterior compartment of the thigh. So it enters from the medial to the posterior and then the anterior aspect of the thigh. The distribution is to the hamstring muscles in the posterior compartment. It also supplies the posterior portion of vastus lateralis in anterior compartment when it moves towards the anterior aspect, because vastus lateralis is the anterior and the lateral most muscle. And then it also supplies the femur, as we can see here. So femur, the shaft of the femur, is also supplied by the perforating arteries, and also reinforces the arterial supply of the sciatic nerve, which is a very common involved structure in terms of clinical conditions such as the piriformis syndrome, as well as the lumbar discogenic diseases, including the discogenic low back pain leading to lumbar radiculopathy, which involves the sciatic nerve. Now, talking about the lateral femoral circumflex artery, so as we can see here, this is the femoral artery, and here we have the lateral femoral circumflex, and here we have the origin, which is from the profunda femoris artery, but sometimes it may arise directly from the femoral artery as well. So the course is that it passes laterally to the sartorius muscle and the rectus femoris, which are located on the anterior aspect of the thigh, and then it enters the gluteal region. The distribution is to the anterior part of the gluteal region, and thus it does not supply the muscles of the posterior aspect of the thigh, but it is actually involving the gluteal region, so it was important to discuss it in this region. Now, talking about the medial femoral circumflex artery, so origin is once again from the profunda femoris artery, but once again may arise directly from the femoral artery as well. So here we can see this is the posterior aspect of the neck of the femur, and here we have the medial femoral circumflex artery giving off a trochanteric branch as well as trochanteric branch. Trochanteric branch is moving more anteriorly, whereas the trochanteric branch stays posteriorly. So the course is that it passes between the pectineus and iliopsoas. Iliopsoas is the major flexor of the hip joint, and then it enters the gluteal region. And the distribution includes that it supplies most of the blood to the head of the femur and thus the hip joint as well. We also have the artery which passes to the femoral head via the fovea capitis, which is known as the artery to the femoral head, but that does not significantly supply the proper nutrition to the femoral head, and thus this is more important. And if the medial femoral circumflex artery is damaged and there is not enough anastomosis or collateral circulation via the other arteries, then the avascular necrosis can occur in the femoral head. So that was all about the arterial supply or the blood supply concerned with the posterior aspect of the thigh and the posterior gluteal region. And I hope you learned something new out of it. So keep on watching sqadia.com for more lectures like this. Thank you very much.